Okay, let's start then. Hello, my name is Zito, and I'm a sales engineer at Pyramid Analytics. Today, we're going to be discussing Gen-AI to Gen-BI. That's how we bring AI to analytics through a sophisticated conversation with your data. Firstly, let's talk about Pyramid. In a world of fragmentation, Pyramid brings a platform approach to business and decision intelligence. By combining data prep, data science, and business intelligence into a single unified platform, we provide operational efficiency and reduce friction between teams. Pyramid is for any data, any industry, any persona, and importantly, any level of data literacy, ranging from developers and data scientists all the way through to those who have never seen a dashboard before and can just about click a mouse. Now, when it comes to where is your data, we don't care. Sorry, I know that sounds rude. What I mean is we don't mind. Any data, anywhere, importantly, without having to move it and incur the associated costs, the data latency, and the security risks that come with moving data. We do that through Piranha, our direct query engine, which we believe is the most performant on the market. In fact, one of our clients ran a test and found that Pyramid was 10 times quicker when the exact same query, was run in Pyramid as their incumbent vendor. Now, I'm not going to name that incumbent vendor, but let's just say this: they haven't bothered to show up today. You do all know who they are, though. Okay. Now, of course, it probably comes as no surprise to you. I am not a volunteer who has committed their lives to talking about how great Pyramid is. I am paid to stand here and tell you how great Pyramid is, which is why I think it's worth referencing our external validation. This year, Gartner ranked Pyramid number 1 in all 4 of their critical capability personas. That is analytical developer, data scientist, business analyst, and augmented consumer. I'm going to repeat that because it's important. Gartner defined 4 and only 4, no more, no less. They defined 4 critical capability personas, and they ranked Pyramid number 1 in all of those. So if you're interested in hearing about the best product out there, come to Y438 afterwards. So, where does AI come into analytics? Well, importantly, AI cannot just be a bolt-on that is going to continue the fragmented ecosystem. AI should not just be a gimmick so that you can put a tick in the AI box. AI needs to be pervasive throughout the entire platform. AI should be available in model to help with data prep for things such as sentiment analysis, translations, and semantic modeling. AI should be available for data science and machine learning. AI should be available for users to generate charts, dashboards, presentations, just using their voice in lightning speed. AI should be available for end users so that when they have a question, they don't have to go and rely on the central analytics and BI team, who should be focusing on higher value add tasks than can you change this to a pie chart and add this dimension. Users should be able to do that themselves. They should be able to set up alerts so that when a data point becomes unusual, AI is going to let them know that that data has become unusual. And when the user is exploring the data, AI should be able to tell them why a data point is what it is, explain what's driving it. The point that I'm trying to make here is that AI cannot just be an afterthought, a gimmick, a bolt-on. AI needs to be tightly entwined as part of your core strategy. So we've spoken about AI, we've spoken about analytics. When we bring them together, we get generative BI, right? This is a term that Pyramid coined earlier this year, and you've probably already worked it out. Gen BI is where we bring the frameworks and the mechanics of generative AI and LLMs to analytics and BI. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Now, although the definition of Gen BI, I would say, is fairly obvious, I think it's worth us focusing on these 5 key pillars. Yep, please take photos, you're more than welcome to. These 5 key pillars. Now, these should be seen as non-negotiables. Firstly, we have directly on any data source. As I said before, we don't care where your data is, we're going to directly access it. To use generative capabilities, you should not have to worry about moving your data in memory or into, let's say, a fabric, for example. What you should be able to do is connect to it directly where it is. As I said before, to avoid the data latency, the associated costs, and the data risks, and the security risks rather. What you have with Pyramid are rapid time to insights in a scalable and secure solution directly against your data source. Speaking of security, that takes us on to the second key pillar. Of course, most LLMs are in the public cloud, which means you should not be sharing your data with them, right? That is a security risk. However, the LLM needs some context and some information to ensure that what it's doing is accurate, which is why at Pyramid we share a description of your data, context of it, such as the metadata, the schema, and the semantic model. That is shared with the LLM so that it can be accurate and effective, but none of your sensitive data is actually shared with it, therefore it's secure. Of course, all of this needs to be sophisticated. When I interact with a dashboard and ask questions, I need to feel like it's understanding me. Pyramid's advanced natural language interface allows users to have an iterative, conversational approach across multiple different languages, meaning anyone can benefit from generative BI. Now, when it comes to choosing your LLM, Pyramid keeps the doors open for you. You can choose your LLM all the way down to the model and use case level. Some LLMs are generalized, some are good for specific verticals and industries. With Pyramid, we allow you to choose the one you want. We support at a public level, we support public LLMs, private, offline, as well as generalized and verticalized. And lastly, when it comes to the key elements, we have embedded Gen BI. I would say about 50% of the conversations that I have at the moment are around embedded analytics. The demand for embedded analytics into an existing portal or application and website is rapidly growing, but organizations don't want to have the burden of building and maintaining that solution themselves. So Pyramid has a purpose-built, light embedding client that allows you to take generative BI capabilities to your clients, deliver them to your clients, and if you're thinking about it in the right way, even monetize those. Now, I'm sure you're all itching to see a demo, but there is one last slide. This slide explains how the magic happens. It's so that when I jump into the demo, you don't think it's witchcraft and get scared and run off. This explains the different steps. Now, importantly, LLMs are powerful and are very good at some things. For those of you that don't know, LLM, large language model, think of the likes of ChatGPT. They are very good at understanding conversation and humans, but they are not built to build analytics. We're in luck because Pyramid is, which is why this takes a tight integration between an LLM and Pyramid. What happens is I speak into the Pyramid platform, and Pyramid does some pre-processing and some really sophisticated prompt engineering. What it does is it passes that to the LLM along with that context of the data that we discussed before, right? The metadata, the schema, the semantic model. You can think of this as Pyramid making sure the question is asked to the LLM in the right way. The LLM then takes in that information and builds out a set of steps, instructions. Maybe think of this as a recipe that is sent back to Pyramid, and then it's Pyramid that does the analytical part. Pyramid that executes those instructions and executes those steps. It's Pyramid's query engine Piranha that goes directly against your data source, gets the data and starts building out those visualizations. The LLM then explains to you what has been built and the steps it's gone through, and this comes out the other end. I show this slide because otherwise throughout the demo people have all of these questions in their head, and this covers a lot of them off. Another nice way to think of it, as you can see along the top, is a cake. In my opinion, to bake a cake, you need three things. I'm going to be honest, I've probably baked one cake in my life and it was in school, but in my opinion, there are three things you need to bake a cake. Ingredients, a recipe, and something/someone to bake that cake. In this instance, you can think of the ingredients as the data and the request that is being made by the user. Pyramid takes those ingredients, gives them to the LLM. It's then the LLM's responsibility to take the description of the ingredients and come up with a recipe. That's what the LLM does. It passes that recipe back to Pyramid, and then Pyramid is the someone or the something that actually bakes the cake. Now, I really want cake, but first of all, I've got to do a demo. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay, just give me 1 second to quench my thirst, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I want you to imagine I'm a user accessing Pyramid, and I don't want to code. I don't even want to drag and drop. I just want to use my voice to get what I need from analytics. We're going to go ahead and build what we call a discover. You can think of this as a table or as a chart. The reason we call it discover is it allows you to explore the data. First thing I have to do is choose which model I'm going to build this on top of. As mentioned before, this can be direct on any data source. We do not have to move this in order to do it. I'm going to come in here and say, so this stage which I've got a mic here and a mic here, so apologies if there's any feedback. Can you show me sales versus product returns split out by state? And also show me a regression of sales versus returns.
Analyzing your inquiry. Just a moment.
Okay, it did hear me. Great. So you can see that it's understood what I've asked for. That is now being sent to the LLM, which is working out some instructions and sending them back to Pyramid. If Pyramid doesn't think they're as lean as they can be, it sends them back to the LLM, and there's this iterative approach.
By state,
but importantly, if I just close this to the side, you can see I've got exactly what I've asked for. Sales versus returns with a regression. This is what I mean when I say sophistication. This is not a simple ask, but for Pyramid, it is. At this stage, this is Pyramid content, right? So if I want to change this by moving things in the drop zones, I can. But I can also do it by talking further. The next thing I'm going to do is take a look at this and go, well, hang on a minute. California is way out here. What's going on there? So I'm going to go and ask Pyramid to explain to me. Can you explain to me what's going on in California?
Putting it together now.
This is triggering a Pyramid function called explain. Which, for those of you that are into machine learning, behind the scenes, this is triggering a machine learning process called partial tree segment analysis. My mic's slipping halfway around my neck. Can you all still hear me okay? Yeah? Good. I've been told I've got a quiet voice. So it's using partial tree segment analysis to explain to me what's actually going on in the data. And you can see here, it's told me, right? In California, the bytes category has driven 92.7% of our sales, with a particular style accounting for 93%, etc., right? I'm not going to read that out to you, but I've gone from connecting to a data model directly to an insight of what's driving the sales in a particular place in a matter of seconds just using my voice. Let's go to the next step. What were the revenues in New York City in 2023? And also show me the revenues for the year before as well, the prior year.
Okay, let me take a look.
Now, I hope you'll all agree, these are me asking questions in my natural voice. I even stuttered over my words a little bit there, but it seems to have picked it up for me. There we go, right? If I minimize this, you can see that we have sales in New York over 2023 and the prior year. I can now go further. And how do these compare to Boston, LA, and Philly?
Thinking. This may
now I can assure you, as someone from Huddersfield, that is the first time I've referred to it as Philly rather than Philadelphia. But the point I'm trying to prove here is the LLM is doing some intelligent understanding that when I mean Philly, when I'm saying Philly, it actually means Philadelphia. The LLM is very good at that. But importantly, if you have synonyms or slang or even acronyms that are unique to your business, your industry, these can be uploaded into Pyramid so that when you're using those terms, it knows what you're talking about. Again, I'll minimize this, and we can see that it's now showing Boston, LA, New York, and Philly. Let's go further. Can you split this out by gender?
Get that for you.
All of these are direct on the model. And as I said before, all of these are secure. Your data is not being exposed to the LLM, just the metadata and the schema. Okay, we can now see we've got it split out by male and female. Can you swap gender for job type and also add expense details?
Reviewing your request.
Now, of course, you're seeing me communicate through voice. You can see at the bottom there is a type box as well. From demoing this a lot of times, people always ask, can you type? And the answer is yes. But now using this to build my demos day to day, I only use my voice. I find it much quicker. So there you go, right? You can see that it's now added the expense details. And if I minimize the chatbot, you'll see that it's swapped gender for occupation. So lastly, let's try and work out, let's choose one. Okay, we've got professional expenses here, and you can see there's been a big old increase. So let's ask Pyramid what's going on. Can you explain to me the change in professional expenses from 2022 to 2023 in Philadelphia?
I'll get back to you shortly.
Again, this is using that same explain capability before to help me get a deeper understanding of what's actually going on within the data. In this demo environment, we are using OpenAI's ChatGPT, but as I've said before, we can work with any LLM, public, private, offline. Here we go, right? The change in professional expenses from 22 to 23 in Philadelphia is primarily influenced by the particular promotion category of resellers, which contributes to a particular decrease. Okay, one more. Let's talk about geospatial. Someone obviously doesn't like what they're hearing, that's okay. Can you show me sales by city?
No problem. Looking it up now.
Now, I work for a global organization, so this is going to show me sales all over the world. And in fact, that's not what I want. I want to focus in further and say, okay, this is too much. Can you show me sales within 300 kilometers of the big data event in London and only show me sales under 10,000?
I need a few seconds here to work it out.
So again, that is using something intelligent, right? It's working out 300 kilometers of a particular point. Looks like there's a resolution issue here, which has caused some of the points to drift, so I'll take a look at that. But you can see here now, it's focused on what I asked for. 300 kilometers within London and only showing sales under 10,000. So what's the point of all this? Yes, it looks fancy. Yes, it's impressive and it's fun to demo. The value here is allowing anyone to come in and start exploring the data. Yes, you can control who sees what, of course, but you don't need to go and write any code or DAX query in order to be able to do this. You can go directly against the data model. We've looked at individual components. What if we want to build full dashboards? The first thing I'm going to do is select a theme, right? This controls the fonts, the colors, and make sure that everything is consistent. I'm going to select my theme. And if I'd have been stood here a year ago, we would have spoken about how Pyramid is very easy to build presentations through a drag and drop type functionality. Now, I can just use my voice. I'm going to show you two situations here. One of them is I want to build a dashboard. I don't know what I want in it, so I'm going to start with something fairly generic and go from there. The second is going to be I've been given a set of requirements and I want to give those to this. Okay, I want to build a slide for sales performance. Give me a diverse set of visualizations using different attributes and different metrics, and I want a slicer for year.
Let me figure this out, and I'll be right back.
Now, I've been pretty vague, right? So it's going to give me whatever it deems is important. But importantly, this is Pyramid content that is created at the other side. So if you then want to change it by dragging and dropping in different dimensions, you absolutely can do. What I would say is this might take a few seconds to load, but I would argue that it's far quicker than you could do it any other way, especially when we come on to this next slide. I personally think this is the most impressive part of the demo, so pay attention to this bit. Okay, in this slide, I'd like to build another slide for sales performance. I would like one visualization showing me profitability by various customer demographics. I'd like a second visualization showing me sales by country and state. I'd like a third visualization showing me manufacturer performance, comparing quantity sold to sales and returns in a scatter plot. And finally, I'd like to take a look at sales performance split out by promotion category and profitability in a tree map. Add a slicer for promotion, and I don't want insights. Now imagine the situation. Your exec have just said to you, I need a dashboard on X, Y, and Z, and I need it yesterday. That's what this is for, right? You're going to give it your requirements, and it's going to build something far quicker than you could do in any other tool. If you disagree with me, I'd love to hear about it. Please come to Y438 afterwards. As I've said before, this is going to get you to maybe 95% of what you need, but far quicker than you can do it in any other way. Is it speaking to you, by the way? It is. Okay, I can't hear it. Thank you. So there we go, right? Let's take a look. Before I run the dashboard, I always think it's important to show it's built what I've asked for. First thing I asked for was profitability by various customer demographics. You can see here we've got profitability by marital status, income, and gender. Second, I asked for sales by country and state. Here we've got sales by country and state, and it's been intelligent enough to put it into a geospatial chart. Third, I asked for manufacturer sales performance, showing sales, quantity, and returns, which is what we have here. And lastly, profitability split out by promotion, sales split out by promotion category and profitability in a tree map. Let's go ahead and run it. Everything you've seen so far is a content creator. I am now, once I switch off this filter, a content consumer. That is everything I asked for in a dashboard, created in, what, a minute, maybe two, tops. The value here is time. The value here is not having to have a whole bunch of developer skills to be able to build this. They're important people, but they should be focusing on higher value tasks than just changing dashboards to different visualizations. How are we doing for time? 7 minutes. Cool. Okay. Now that I've created all of this content, let's just go through and save a few of these things. I'm going to save this, and we're going to call this, so we spoke earlier, what was your name, remind me? Joseph, right? So we're going to call this Joseph. This is just to prove that this is live. We're going to call this Joseph, and then Joseph's also created this wicked presentation, so we're going to call this, sorry to pick on you, Joseph. Right, so we've saved it. That's going to become relevant in a second's time. The next thing I want to show you was that fifth key pillar. If anyone's paying attention, want to tell me what it was? No one's paying attention? Great. It was embedding. How do we get this to our end users? And I'm going to show you one of two ways. The first way is to come into a component and go and grab the embed code. Pyramid can embed through iframes, but the way that we suggest is using our light embed client, which can be embedded through injectable code, meaning it sits in the page rather than on the page. It's great for performance. So we generate this. If I zoom out, sorry. This can be generated as JavaScript, React, Angular. We can also pass through the authentication. That can then be dropped into your web portal. So for a second, pretend I don't work at Pyramid. All of this top stuff is the company I now work for, Acme Inc., right? They sell bikes. So this and this is Acme's portal, their website, their application. What I'm about to show you are Pyramid components embedded into it, and as an end user that is a customer of Acme, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference. So this is Acme, and what we've done is taken that injectable code to embed Pyramid components into the page. This is Pyramid, right? Anything that looks analytical is Pyramid, but for an end user, they don't know. That allows Acme to monetize Pyramid's capabilities. If I want to go further than that, we can take those dashboards and provide what we call the analytics hub. Let me just zoom out and scroll down. The idea here is that the first time a user logs in, you define a default for them. They just see the default, but then they can self-serve and choose what's important to them. They can come in here and let's say Joseph hates these components here, so he's going to go ahead and delete them. He's then going to go to his library of components. Here we go, right? BDL Joseph, this is live. I'm going to go and add these in, resize them, save them, and then that means you've given Joseph a unique experience. Yes, he's got a default, but next time he comes back, he's only seeing the components that are important to him. If Joseph then wants to go further and self-serve, he can do. Let's say, for example, we have this chart here, and he doesn't like this visualization. He can go and change this to be a column chart. He can then go and change this to be, let's say, What do you want, Joseph? I think you want a grid, right? We're going to change it to a grid. he can then go ahead and swap dimensions. Maybe he doesn't want to see promotion, but instead he wants to see product category. And he doesn't want the manufacturer along the top. Instead, he wants to remove this. He then wants to focus on bikes and drill in. He selects bikes and says he wants to drill this by customer country. This is him drilling into bikes and splitting it out by country, exploring the data only that he has access to, but importantly without having to rely on the central analytics and BI team, who, quite frankly, everyone I speak to has a backlog of requests like this. They shouldn't be solving requests like this. They should be focusing on higher value tasks and allowing end users to self-serve. The final thing I want to call out is if we wanted to come in here and not click, and a front-end user wants to use generative BI, they absolutely can do. Joseph can click here and say, okay, this is too much. I just want to see sales by product subcategory and build me a circle packing chart.
Sorting out your request.
Joseph's self-serving. It's all against the data directly. It's secure, and he's going to get what he wants so that he can carry on with his day with the data that he needs. There we go. Okay, thank you very much for listening. What you've seen today is a platform that combines data prep, data science, and business intelligence to provide operational efficiency. AI is littered throughout, as it should be. It's direct on any data source, it's secure, and it is scalable. Gartner rank us #1 across their 4 critical capabilities, and if you'd like to carry on this conversation further, I think I've been saying the right booth number. Yes, I have. There we go. Oh, Y438. Thank you very much.